Welcome back to our course that is Principles of Organic Farming Agron 323, and today's topic is organic ecosystem and their concepts. So what do you mean by organic? As already we have learned the definition of organic. So organic concept should be taken as a sense of living, whether above or under the soil, with all living beings, whether it is plants or mammals or aves or reptiles or arthropods or any other micro or macro organism. So organic means living beings, and ecosystem, all these living and non-living components, they are interacting in an environment, and they are linked together through nutrient cycles and energy flow. So when living and non-living components are interacting, then it becomes the ecosystem. So just you observe this picture, you see that there are all the organisms, living and non-living, they are there, and they are interacting with the environment, and how they are living in your under the nature's way of management. So this is more like living with the nature, with all the living and non-living components. So how this system can be applicable in the agriculture? There are various other related terms have been coined. So one by one we understand these terms. One and most important term is natural farming. This natural farming is also known as Fukuoka method, or the natural way of farming, or do nothing farming. The Masanobu Fukuoka, that he is originator of the natural farming method. He was a Japanese farmer and well-known philosopher. So in his book One Straw Revolution in 1975, he introduced this term natural farming. Natural means nature's way of farming. So means there should not be any interference of human being in the farming. Whatever that principles of nature's of management is there, that should be applied in the farming. So it is also known as the do nothing farming. So just in this lecture we will just discuss in very brief way in what the important components are used in the natural farming. So Fukuoka he emphasized on the 5 points that in natural farming there should be no tillage, no fertilizer, no pesticide or herbicides, no weeding, and no pruning. So there will not be any type of tillage, there will not be any application of fertilizer, pesticide or herbicide, and weeding is also not done, and pruning is also not done. So in this way natural farming minimizes the human labor and adopts a closely as practical nature's production of food in biodiverse agriculture ecosystem. Without plowing, seeds germinate well on the surface of site condition when it meets the need of the seeds placed there. Fukuoka used the presence of arthropods, spiders in his field as a key performance indicator of sustainability. Means if there are many number of arthropods are there in the field, it indicates that the soil is good and it can sustain the production. So this was the very important, that uses the principles of Nasser's way of management and farming is done. So natural farming, one of the related term that is used in the organic ecosystem. So important point in this is what is the natural farming. These 5 points you have to keep in the mind: no tillage, no fertilizer, no pesticide and herbicide, no weeding, no pruning, and it is just like a do nothing farming, and adopting the natural way of farming. And this was developed by Japanese farmer Masanobu Fukuoka. So these are the important point in the natural farming. Another related terms to natural farming is fertility farming. In 1951, Newman Turner, a British pioneering organic farmer, he advocated the practice of fertility farming. So what is the fertility farming? Fertility farming is a system featuring the use of cover crops, no tillage, no chemical fertilizer, no pesticide, no weeding and no composting. So it is almost similar to the natural farming. So his fertility farming principles are the similar with the Fukuoka's system of natural farming. So fertility farming that was developed by Newman Turner. Another term related to this organic ecosystem is nature farming. Nature farming, that another Japanese farmer and philosopher, Mokoshi Okada, he conceived that no fertilizer farming system should be there, and it was in 1930s, means predated Fukuoka's time. So Okada used the same character as Fukuoka natural farming. However, there are difference in the translation into the English. So he uses the nature farming instead of natural farming. So only difference is natural and nature. So he used the term nature farming. So agriculture researchers Hu Lian-zhu, who claims that nature farming is the correct literal translation of the Japanese term. So this is also in the vogue, the term nature farming that was used by Mokishi Okada, a Japanese farmer. Then we talk of the zero budget natural farming. Zero budget natural farming, that you all are knowing, that our Indian agriculture Padam Shri Subhas Palekarji, he developed this zero budget natural farming. So it is a variation on the natural farming, which is also called the spiritual farming. And he uses the mulching, intercropping and the use of several preparations such as Bijamrita, Jivamrita and Panchgavya, which include the product obtained from the native cow. So these preparations are said to promote microbes and earthworm actively in the soil. So another system where the organic ecosystem is used is the zero budget natural farming by the Subhas Palekarji. People are also using the term the Panchgavya Krishi. Panchgavya, Panch means 5 and Gavya means cow. So this is one type of bioenhancer that prepared from the 5 products obtained from cow, that is dung, urine, milk, curd and ghee. So Panchgavya contains many useful microorganisms such as fungi, bacteria, actinomycetes and various micronutrients. So this formulation acts as tonic to the soil, to enrich the soil, to induce plant vigor and for the quality production. So sometimes it is also, people are using Panchgavi Krishi, where the main product is Panchgavi, use of Panchgavi. Then another term they are using is the permaculture. Permaculture is a philosophy of working with nature rather than against the nature, of protracted means long lasting, protracted and thoughtful observation rather than protracted and thoughtless labor, and of looking at plants and animal in all their functions rather than treating any area as a single production system. This was said by the Bill Mollison, who has been described as the father of permaculture. Who is the father of permaculture? Bill Mollison. So, who given that permaculture is a philosophy of working with nature rather than against the nature, and of protracted and thoughtful observation rather than protracted and thoughtless labor, and of looking at plants and animals in all their functions rather than treating any area as a single production system. So permaculture, this is coming from permanent agriculture. It is an integrated system of ecological and environmental design, which Mollison co-developed with David Holmgren, another worker. So together they developed this, permaculture, and they envision it is as a perennial and sustainable form of agriculture. In 1974, Mollison began his collaboration with Holmgren, and in 1978 they published their book Permaculture 1, which introduced this design system to the general public. So these both scientists, this Mollison and Holmgren, they developed this permaculture, and they published their book Permaculture 1 in 1978, wherein they described all the this system of permaculture and their design for the general public. So what is the difference between organic and permaculture? When we go beyond the organic, their aim may be limited to yield only, but in permaculture all the other systems are there, whether it is for the protection of soil, and protection of environment, for to check the environmental pollution, to check the erosion, and so all the components, when they are combined, and system is so prepared that it becomes the permanent agriculture. So it is not just limited to yield, so it is just more than the organic agriculture. So permaculture is more than the organic agriculture. Organic may be one of the component. So they are similar in way that they are also not using any synthetic input. Just in organic farming we are not using any synthetic input. So in permaculture also any synthetic input, chemicals is not used. All in the nature's way of management they are using, they are adopting, but it is beyond the aim of yield only. It includes all the wholesome management of this earth, environment, plants, all living beings, everything is covered in the permaculture. So it is also one of the system where organic ecosystem is followed. Another term is natu eco farming. That is natu from natural ecological, so natural ecological farming. So this is also related term to the organic. In this type of farming, they are mainly focusing on three things, that is soil management and roots nourishment and canopy management. In soil management, they are managing by recycling of biomass. One of the important product, that is Amrit Mitti, they are using for the soil management. So in Amrit Mitti, they are preparing heap of all the recyclable this biomass, and they sowing the seeds and spray the Amrit Jal. Amrit Jal is similar type of like Jiva Amrita. They are preparing from the cow dung, cow urine and jaggery. So for the Amrit Mitti, preparation of Amrit Mitti, they are using also Amrit Jal. And then that seeds are they are growing, and then plants are cut and they again put in the heap. So likewise they are growing, and then they are converting into the that compost. So in this way they are preparing the very good quality of compost, and that is called the Amrit Mitti. So this Amrit Mitti is used for the soil management by recycling of the biomass. So in Natu eco farming, main important that Amrit Mitti is a very important component, and they are using for the soil management. Another part of this Natu eco farming is roots nourishment, and they are focusing on the feeder root zone. So they are ensuring that whatever nutrients are, they are confined to the root zone only, so that plants get the maximum nourishment, maximum availability of these nutrients. So in this they are focusing on the roots management, and particularly in the that feeder root zone. And another important part in Natu eco farming is the canopy management. We all know that sun is very important, because without sun there is no radiation, and without radiation there is no photosynthesis, and if photosynthesis is not there, means there is no food. So they are focusing on the canopy management. So they are shaping the canopy and pruning the canopy at time to time for maximum interruption of solar radiation, and this way maximum photosynthesis. And the last part of this Natu eco farming, last point is they are also focusing on the minimizing dependency on the external input, not only this other input, but including water also. They are also thinking of the using the minimum quantity of water. So in this way natural ecological farming, they are focusing on soils, roots, canopy, and minimum dependency on the external inputs. So these are the main important points that are kept in the mind while following the Natu eco farming. Another term related to this is the biodynamic agriculture. It is just somewhat different than all the terms we have now talked about. So biodynamic agriculture, it includes the esoteric concept. Esoteric means mysterious, unknown, and that is beyond the that physical world. So they are using that mystical word, their concept, their ideas. And this was first, on this that work was done by Rudolf Steiner, who first developed this biodynamic agriculture. So who is called the founder of this biodynamic agriculture. Earlier he said that he said this type of agriculture as a anthroposophic agriculture. So anthropo means human and sophia means wisdom. So human wisdom. So earlier this was used as a anthroposophic agriculture. Later it is known as the biodynamic agriculture. So it is also known as the first of organic agriculture movement, and it was developed in 1924. In biodynamic agriculture, that they uses the manure and compost. They also exclude the use of synthetic fertilizer, pesticide and herbicide, and its method uses the astrological sowing and planting calendar. So it is one of the important character of this biodynamic agriculture, that they use the astrological sowing and planting calendar. And they also uses the various herbal and mineral additives for compost additives and field spray. They are prepared using the methods that are more akin to sympathetic magic than the agronomy, such as the burying the quartz stuffed into the horn of a cow, which are said to harvest cosmic forces in the soil. So different type of preparations are there, as we will discuss later on. So biodynamic agriculture is somewhat different than the all other related terms we already have discussed. In what way it is different? It is different because it uses this mystical perspective, spiritual perspective, rather than this physical perspective. So this was the work by the Rudolf Steiner, and this the term, this organic farming, this was coined in the book Look to the Land, which was written by Walter James, the 4th Baron Northbourne, who you practice all the practices of this biodynamic agriculture, and then he written a book Look to the Land, and in which he coined the term organic farming. And by practicing the biodynamic agriculture, he also praised all the methods of the Rudolf Steiner. So this Walter James is known as the coiner of the term organic farming in his book Look to the Land. So these are various this preparation. Total 9 preparations are there in biodynamic agriculture. That biodynamic 500 and biodynamic 501. These are for the preparation of manures and compost. In biodynamic 500, BD 500, this cow horn is filled with the humus mixture, cow manure, and it is buried in the ground in the autumn season. And in BD 501, that quartz is used, quartz that it is powdered and crushed and filled into the cow horn and buried in the ground in the spring season and it is taken out in the autumn season. So these two products, BD 500 and BD 501, these are for the preparation of this compost. And another 7 preparation that are from BD 502 to 500 this 8, they are prepared from the this herbs. For example, this BD 502 is prepared from the yarrow, flowers of yarrow, that Achillea millefolium, this one herb is there. So by using this herb, this preparation BD 502 is prepared. So it helps in the process of the potassium and sulfur and trace elements. And another product, another preparation is BD 503. This is made from the flowers of this chamomile. So Matricaria chamomilla, this herb is there. So by using flowers of this herb, they are preparing the BD 503. So this is helpful for the processing of calcium and nitrogen. So another that preparation is BD 504, that is made from the leaves of Himalayan string nettle, that Utica parviflora. This herb is there. So they are using leaves of this herb and they are preparing the BD 504, and this is helpful for processing of iron and magnesium. Another preparation is BD 505, and that is prepared from the using the bark of Himalayan oak, Quercus glauca. So BD 505 is made from the using the bark of Himalayan oak, and that is also helpful in the process of calcium. Another preparation is BD 506, that is prepared from the flowers of dandelion, that Taraxacum officinalis. So this BD 506 is prepared from the flowers of dandelion, and this is also helpful in the process of silica. BD 507 is prepared from the flower of valerian. So this valerian officinalis, this is herb used for the preparation of BD 507, and it is helpful for the process of phosphorus. And last one, this BD 508, this is used for the preparation of this is prepared from the herb horsetail, Equisetum arvens. So Casuarina can also be used for the preparation of BD 508. So from 502 to 508, this herbal species are used, and 500 and 501, these are prepared from the cow manure, and 500 BD 500 is prepared from the cow manure, and BD 501 is prepared from this quartz. So likewise, many these preparations are there in the biodynamic farming. And last one, these two forms of this related to organic ecosystem are Rishi and Homa farming. So Rishi since ancient times, if we follow the Vedas, the Rishi method of natural farming was used. Even today, the farmers of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, they are using this type of Rishi, in which use of Angara, that is holy ash, and Amrit Pani, nectar water solution, and natural undisturbed soil is major component including compost, cattle dung manure, leaf green manuring, and crop biomass for nutrients and mulching. So Rishi Krishi is also another term. This is related to organic ecosystem. And the last one is a homa farming. Since ancient time of Vedic period, homa farming is practiced. It is based on the principle that if you yield the atmosphere, atmosphere will yield you. So they call it as a revealed science. The basic aspect of homa farming is the chanting of Sanskrit mantra Agnihotra Puja at specific times of day, at sunrise and sunset, before a holy fire. They using the dried cow dung, cow ghee and brown rice. So in homa farming they are doing nothing but they are doing the Agnihotra. They are chanting the mantras and doing the Agnihotra. They are putting the ghee and this dried cow dung and brown rice in the fire, and they chanting the mantras. So it is very simple, but it requires discipline and regularity. If you are not disciplined and regularly you are not doing, then it may not be so effective. So homa farming is also one of the term related to this organic ecosystem. So these were the terms related to this organic ecosystem. Now we come to the summary of today's lecture. So we have to understand the nature's way of management. So organic ecosystem is more or less, I would rather say that it is totally depends on the nature's way of management. Nature has its own way of management, own way of nourishment, own way of protection. Means every cycle is there for management, whether it is water or nutrient supply, or it is disease or pest control. So we have to just know the nature's process, nature's own way of managing all the activities of the creation, and then learn to live with the nature. What we need to learn, since we are concerned with the agriculture management, so we have to learn how we can manage our agriculture without hampering any creature. So we do not we should not do any activity that is hampering the nature. So we can do only with the following the principles of nature's management. If we understand, then we can apply all the principles of nature's way of management in our agriculture, and then in real sense we can understand the concept of agriculture, concept of organic agriculture, and we can learn to grow organic and live the organic. So first observe the nature's way of management, and then think of organic concept of agriculture management. So in today special this Earth Day, on the occasion of Earth Day, we take take a pledge that we should not do any activity that will harm the nature, and theme of this day, restore our earth. So we can also it is also our duty to contribute in restoring our earth by doing only those activity which are not harmful to nature. So we can also contribute to with it stand this theme and contribute to fulfill the this that we should not do any activity that would harm the nature, and live in that way that is natural, that is not harming to anybody. So with this I conclude today's lecture, and hope you will note down the important points, and the term the organic ecosystem and related all these terms whether it is natural farming, fertility farming, biodynamic agriculture, zero budget natural farming, this eco-naso farming. So all these things we understand, and then we can really, in real sense, we can understand the organic ecosystem. So these were the major concepts in today's lecture. Thank you so much for listening.